Hey guys, I hate to do this to you again, 2 weeks in a row, but there's some more audio difficulties this week. Yay! We figured out the problem this time. It's a cord that we have, so we have to go buy a new one for next week. But yeah, sorry, the audio is a little not good again this week. We apologize. We're gonna fix it soon. It's gonna be better. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Disc Review, the podcast that goes track by track through a different album each week.
And we're your hosts, Max and Matt. Join us as we explore some of our favorite records.
No, I'm a fan, I swear.
I feel like I've become a music normie.
I'm tired of being Mr. Positive guy.
Dude, that's not humor.
This is certifiably the most boring album I've ever heard.
And there's a reason they don't do it, because it's terrible.
We hope you enjoy the show. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to Disc Review, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Treehouse, an album by I See Stars. I have listened to this album quite a bit, especially in my teenage years, and I've always felt like it's one I can come back to have a little fun. It's not my favorite album by I See Stars. It's definitely not my favorite album of this genre. But what do you think about this album, Treehouse, Matt?
I have a little bit of experience with this album. There's a couple songs I remember from that era. This album came out in 2016. I don't have like a full experience of every single song. It was definitely interesting to go through. I'm familiar with their style though, and I think that even though if I'm not the biggest fan of this style, I think I don't know if they're together anymore. They haven't put anything out since 2018, but I think this was a good evolution of that style. If you go back further, I think this is a little tighter with the more cohesive vision, I feel like. So I think I was happy with this album from them.
Yeah, they haven't put out an album since this one, 2016, so it's been, 5 years, almost 6, and from what I've heard, there are rumors that they've actually recorded and finished their whole next album, but, no news has come of it since then, so I don't know. I assume one day we'll get another I See Stars record, but for now, this is the last one we have to listen to. Before we jump in track by track, what did you think about this album art?
You know what? It's on brand, all right? There's a tree in it. I like the white border. I feel like it gives it a kind of elegance. The hands on the tree is just a little bit creepy. Perfect for this genre. I don't know. It's not like super crazy or impressive to me. It's pretty normal.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I actually really like this album artwork. It's unique to me and interesting looking with the hands wrapping around the tree. Has that element of edginess, but I think it has a stronger element of like fantasy and mysticism, giving a whole new meaning to the title, Treehouse. So I kind of dig it, and I like the little insignia at the bottom with the tree.
Well, I mean, if you compare it to some of their older artwork, it's leagues above. I've not been the biggest fan of their 2012, 2013 era album art. If you're, unfamiliar, look it up.
Yeah, they had some really weird ones. But yeah, let's just jump in here.
Jumping into the track by track.
The first song on the record is Calm Snow. Calm Snow has never really been my favorite song in this album, but I think it does a lot of things really well. I think the drums are really smart here. They put pretty minimal drums in the first half, giving the song a slow trudging feel. But quickly switches at the halfway point to a much quicker pace that really gives the song a good build and crescendo.
Yeah, I think the chorus is the highlight for this track. This is, I'm assuming, a big single. This is the highest streamed. I think I get it with that chorus. I think it has the right energy you need for this kind of music. I think that the second verse drags a little bit. I think that their song structure is kind of all over the place sometimes, something I notice a lot on this record. There's some that I think are a little bit crazier, but that's just something I noticed.
The second song is Break. This song is one of the more poppy songs on the record. It has a decent guitar riff, although I don't really think any of the guitar riffs are all that special on this album. Instead, this record shines with some really great synths and poppy choruses. This chorus is one of the most fun ones on the record. The singer's voice is so similar to Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens in this song and throughout the record that honestly I think that if you told someone it was Kellen Quinn, they would have no reason not to believe you.
He absolutely sounds just like Kellen Quinn. I think that I don't know anything about his personality outside of the music, so I don't have as much to go off of. He just comes off generic to me in that regard because I feel like I've heard this voice before and I don't know who this guy is, but maybe that's just me. I don't know much about the band. I'm glad you brought up the guitar. I think that the heavy guitar is one of the things I dislike about their music. I think the electronic stuff's, their better stuff. But when they slap the generic guitar that isn't doing much, it's not something I'm a big fan of, and I think this song had a good example of that for me. I think that the chorus probably would have been better without it, but I agree the melodies are pretty solid on this.
The third song is White Lies. This song is a little underwhelming in the verses, which honestly made this song a skip for me quite often. But when you get to the chorus, you can't help but have fun, in my opinion. This is one of my favorite choruses in the whole album. His voice is just really good here, especially when he sings White Lies, you do this every time. I just really like that part.
Yeah, one of the more forgettable songs for me, too. I think the only part that really stood out to me was the outro. I think that I like when they're fun with the vocal effects.
The fourth song is Everyone's Safe in the Treehouse, which is a call out to the title of the album. This song is another example of how Icy Stars writes kind of boring and forgettable verses, but then really hooks you in with that chorus. I just wish that the verses were a little shorter so we can get to that chorus faster. It's really, the way he sings those choruses and the melodies that really bring the song alive for me.
I could definitely see that. The verses definitely have been what sticks out as weak to me as well. I think this song doesn't have any parts that stand out to me, though. I don't think this is the strongest chorus. I think coming off of these last three, this one seems the weakest to me.
Then we have Running with Scissors. This song starts with a really intense guitar riff that is honestly a little disappointing. Their last record, New Demons, had really incredible guitar parts that I thought, the guitars had a great tone and it made you feel ready to enter the mosh pit. This riff is just kind of boring and basic. But then they get to the chorus and give you yet another great melody. As someone who loves heavy music and really enjoyed their New Demons album for that reason, I kind of wish they leaned a little harder into the electronic side of this album, because when those synths come in, that's when this album is at its best.
I absolutely agree. This is one of my favorite choruses on this album. I think this is the one I would point to of being like, they've got some great choruses hidden in this really heavy stuff, because I agree. I think the heavy stuff doesn't need to be here. I feel like it feels like an obligation and not really like part of the identity of the song, because I think it really shines on those slower, it slows down in the bridge and that chorus. You just get to the electronic stuff, I think works really well. But this whole song also has a really intense breakdown just right in the middle of the song.
Then we have Mobbin' Out. This is the first of two songs on this album that are almost like dubstep sounding. I think the other one is All In, but I think All In does it better. This song is one exception where I think that the verse is actually better than the chorus. I think that the chorus, or like the main part, I don't know if you'd call it a chorus, with like those heavy guitar dubstep type stuff, it's just kind of a strange blend of electronic music and metal. And I really think that Icy Stars was working within a subgenre of metalcore with this electronic music that just wasn't really ready. I think since then there's been a lot of really great stuff put out of that genre. But at this point in 2016, I just think it hadn't been fleshed out yet, and stuff like this kind of bugs me, where it's just a very odd way to blend the genres.
I know what you mean. This song definitely sounded like old school Icy Stars. Definitely reminded me of. I think that, like I said, the song structure, it's kind of hard to understand because there is a chorus in here. I think it comes out pretty strong at the very end. You can really tell, okay, this is the chorus. But I agree, it just kind of gets confusing with, like you said, this really heavy electronic kind of section that feels like kind of like a electronic breakdown. I think that as someone who isn't as much into heavy music anymore, I just want more of that electronics, so that's definitely where I'm leaning.
Well, then we have Walking on Gravestones. This song marks the second half of the record and gives us a real synthy vibe. I think it's actually really good placement for a song like this after having a couple that were like pretty heavy right in a row. It's not the most exciting song, but I think it fits well where it is.
Yeah, I gotta give them props for this song. It's not something I expected on this record. I think that bands like this usually know what kind of song they make, and they just make that one type of song over and over again. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. So I was really happy to see them just fully lean into electronic side and do something that has no heaviness at all, no screaming. You just kind of get lost in the atmosphere, and I was just really impressed, and I was having a good time with this one. One of my favorites.
The next song is Light in the Cave. The intro guitar riff here sounds so much like the band Issues that I wonder if they kind of took some inspiration from them here. But then after that, it cuts straight to a poppy synth that fills the verse. Icy Stars, you know, like I was saying before, they were kind of desperately clinging to this blend of metal and synthwave music. And I just wish, like, you know, if they could see into the future and see bands like Spirit Box and the Browning doing that, but like perfectly with this like heavy dance music, I think we could have gotten some better stuff had they had a little insight into where the genre was headed. But I mean, you know, Icy Stars had to crawl so that other bands could run, I guess.
Yeah, I called this a funky synth. I really liked when it picked up after that first verse, and I was starting to vibe. I think that if that synth was more prominent, I really liked this song. Like, big standout.
Then we have All In. This is the other sort of dubstep-ish song. I don't know if that's even really the right word. I don't really know what else to call it though, because it's like heavy guitar-driven dubstep in the chorus. But I actually like the way this one is done. It's got some good vocal flow in the verses that are really fun, and the chorus is just a blast. I would love to hear this song live because I think the crowd would just go crazy. This song has probably the best heavy guitar on the record.
Hey, I really like the risk on this one. It's kind of a party song. It feels like the way he's just kind of chanting. I think that I like how different it is.
Then we have Two Hearted. This song has the best single energy for me, but surprisingly, this song wasn't used as a single. They did, I think, Break and Running with Scissors as the singles, which I could see Break. Running with Scissors is kind of a weird one to choose as a single, but this song has probably the most widespread accessibility. You could play this song with your normie friends who don't really listen to metal, and they might like it. I've always pictured this song being a good one to play like on a boat while you're like water skiing or something.
Yeah, this is the best song on the record for me. I think it's miles above. I just think it's just it's so unique and catchy. I kind of haven't heard something like it. It's got a really strong instrumental that makes me feel. This is where I get like lost in it and emotional with it. I am really impressed by this song, and if they have more like this, I'll be tuning in to more Icy Stars.
Next is Portals. Portals is my favorite song on this album. It has a really good screaming part and fun verses that do a decent job of blending the synths and the heavy guitar. The chorus is by far my favorite part though, even though I kind of only like half of the chorus. The first line in the chorus is really good. It says, "You say you don't believe it's human nature to me," which I think is just a really smart line. I don't know why that line sticks out to me as being really good. But then the next line is really bad. I don't know if you remember it, but it's, "The moment a bullet leaves, a fool's future is weaved." And I just think that that's a weird and not very clever line, and they definitely could have put something better here.
This is, I think, a first. I don't think we've ever had this polarizing of opinions, because you picked this as your favorite. This was my pick for my least favorite.
Wow, okay.
I felt like it just jumped all over the place from tone and style, heavy to super electronic, and I just couldn't pick up any melodies that I was vibing with. It was just so chaotic and all over the place, and it did not feel cohesive. This was definitely not my favorite. So I'm surprised we've never had opinions that differed that strongly.
I know, you didn't like the part where the gun cocks and the song switches to like a completely different song.
Well, exactly what I'm talking about. It might not help. I had a one listen, so it wasn't a thorough, in-depth analysis, but just nothing stuck out to me.
The last song is Yellow King. I think this song title is a reference to the popular book series by American author Robert W. Chambers called The King in Yellow, but I can't be sure, especially because I have never read those books. I think this song is a decent closer to the album. The chorus is pretty good. I like the line, it seems you're so scared of taking chances, I'm not. The main riff has a really cool harmony between the guitar and the synth that I think really brings the sonic themes together.
I know I was pretty anti-heavy on this review, but this was my favorite of the heavy songs. I think I just liked the energy it brought, and the melody, especially in the chorus, were really strong. This was a really good closer for this album.
Well, so what did you think about this album as a whole after talking about it?
I think that I would like to see them go in a certain direction. I'm a big fan of Two Hearted. I have no idea what is in the future for Icy Stars. I don't know if they're going to keep going heavy. But if they keep going a direction, with their electronic music and refining that, I think they had some good stuff here, and there's some potential.
Their singer has a solo project. I think it's called Shy Beast, and it's more like it's not heavy, it's more electronic, and so I wonder if that's maybe the direction that they would go in the future. Like I said at the beginning, I think I have fun with this album still, even though there's a lot I don't like about it. It's not my favorite Icy Stars record. I think New Demons is actually really good. It's got a lot of good heavy songs, and great guitars. So I think it's fun to jam out to every once in a while, but I would never pick it. If I was to be stranded on a desert island, this would not be one of my choices of song. So that's our review for Treehouse by Icy Stars. We're going to close it out. I just wanted to get Matt's opinion on something.
Just talking.
So, Matt, one of my favorite artists, and I won't even say who, because I really like this artist, but I just don't like what he just did. And so I don't want to say who it is, but especially because we've been able to meet and talk with some of our favorite artists on this podcast. He put out a song with some other dudes. It was obviously just like a fun collaboration that they did. And the song theme was about how they hate traveling and going on the road and like playing shows. And I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I think that no artist really likes taking months out of their year to travel and be away from their family, right? And be away from home. But on the flip side, I think that there's so many people out there, fans of these artists who are like struggling and really just like they bought a ticket to that show and they are trying to get through their 9 to 5, just thinking of how much fun they're going to have seeing their favorite band live. And then just to hear like them come out with a song where they literally say like, I hate the shows. I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that also rubbed me the wrong way. I think that I've always found it, kind of frustrating when people complain about something that, they're doing for a reason. Obviously if you're going on tour, you're there to make money, so it's your job. And also it's an opportunity that a lot of people, hardworking, musicians that don't have that kind of audience would die for and are working so hard to get there every day. And I think, sometimes it's good to stay humble. I think you can complain about the experience. This reminds me of Roadkill from the album we reviewed last week, the 1975. He's talking about going on tour in America, and he talks about all the, bad experiences, getting stuck on the road and spilling your stuff and people hating on you out in public. But it's never this attitude of like, I'm so mad I have to do this. It's kind of like in a jovial, it's funny and we're having a good time and there's hardships, but obviously it's worth it. And I just feel like there's an attitude to come at it where you can complain about the bad stuff but not condemn the whole thing and hate on your fan base for making you do that. Because from like you said, all perspectives, especially from the fan, it is a big deal for them to get to see their favorite artist, and they're here, they're supporting you financially, they're buying a ticket, you're not doing it for free.
Yeah, and I don't want to give off the impression that I think that you shouldn't be able to complain about that, because everyone complains about their job, and no one wants to work. But I just wish that song had gone more in the direction of like, I hate being away from my family, I hate going on the road, but I do it for the fans. I do it because it means a lot to them, and I love my fan base. It just, that wasn't the message at all. So anyways, sorry to end it on a weird note, but yeah, there's just something I really wanted to chat about before we ended this. Thank you to everyone who listened to this episode of Disc Review. We have more episodes on Spotify and YouTube as well, so give us a follow and tell your friends about us. And thank you so much. See ya.